Welcome back to some more ranked brawling action here. As a bit of a follow-up to the Ohio only pushing video that happened last week sometime, I'm going to play the GK. I had really good luck in ranked the other day where I played a very aggressive GK brawler build, but we managed to do some really good work here in winning games for our team. Pushing battleships is pretty difficult these days, let's be honest, but rank seems to be the game mode where it's going to work some of the time. I can't promise it's going to work out every time, but in ranked you at least have the opportunities to push in. You don't have to deal with a 12v12 game. Oftentimes you won't even have to deal with subs or carriers, which is really important. Those really three things. Having less ships on the board means less crossfires to worry about, more areas of the map are just a little more open to pushing through, and of course subs and carriers do a great job of, well, convincing you to stay at the back of the map, let's just say. And for someone like me who really got into this game for the close range surface ship combat, well, ranked mode seems to scratch that itch for me these days. Pushing up very aggressively here, even just sitting flat broadside, not really caring about the damage we take because we have a Des Moines near us. The focus fire we're going to take here really isn't that big of a deal since the Des Moines is going to hydro and radar these destroyers for us. We already helped take care of one of them, the Vampire 2, pretty dangerous threat, but taken out very quickly. And then this Druid here seems to want to just trade with us, so I'm okay with that. Even with some maybe not great dispersion from our main guns, the secondaries will do some solid damage into him there. I will gladly trade away all that HP to take out one DD and nearly take out a second. He's left on a third health now, so a very impactful start, certainly. And in this video, I actually have 4 really good matches to show you guys from ranked with the Kurfürst. And I don't like to do this, feels really weird clickbaity, but the last match is actually the best one. I promise I actually put these in chronological order, but the last one I had in the GK is actually just ridiculous. I nearly doubled my next closest teammate's base XP, so tons of battle impact there. And if you're looking to actually have a lot of battle impact in these ranked games as a battleship player, you need to be pushing. Even here, losing half our health to start to deal that damage into DDs, very good trade, like I said. But I really do think getting into the thick of it early on like this is really the only way to have battle impact in a battleship here. With a DD, you can go for the caps, you can spot things. With a radar cruiser, you can try and deal with the enemy DDs. It's a very important thing to do. The Des Moines walks out broadside to us, and well, double Citadel there will definitely take him out. One of the main reasons definitely want to keep pushing here is there's a lot of really high priority ships here to deal with, that Des Moines and that Druid yet. Well, we're going to turn our attention to the Ohio here. But if you're going to sit at the back of the map in a battleship to start, you're probably not going to have that much battle impact. You're really going to leave it to your friendly DDs, radar cruisers, to win or lose the game for you. And sure, you might get some damage, might save a star, but if you want to really be the one that's going to help your team win the game, or, you know, if you die early, you might lose it for your team at times. Not every GK or battleship push is going to go terribly well. If you run into a bunch of torpedoes and die early, yeah, maybe not the best push. But at least I think it's more interesting than sitting at the back here. We do manage to help take out this Ohio. Monty certainly gives us a hand there, but we even managed to Citadel him with GK guns. They were definitely working the day that I was playing these ranked games, getting pretty good RNG out of the Kurfürst. It's not every day you're going to be getting multiple Citadel games, even at these closer ranges. We'll see later on some salvos that work very well and other ones that are rather frustrating. But that's going to be the first game done out of 4. Got 3 more for you. 140k near enough in this one, and a lot of that was done to DDs, cruisers, very high priority ships. And since a lot of it's going to be AP damage, unhealable damage, you're going to get a lot of value for that. On to the next one here. Well, this map can be a little bit tricky to know how to play. Considering we're just going to be pushing in as a battleship, it's really not all that complicated. Not a lot of thought put into it. Pushing into this middle area can be a very bad thing if you're going to eat a lot of torpedoes. But we do have a hydro on the Kurfürst, something that the Ohio didn't have in that previous video. That really does help us out a lot here. Pushing in, we do have a Schlieffen with us. And I'm still going to try and be a little bit smart about things. I'm not just going to push the W key and hope for the best. We can still play a little bit smart, use our brain a little bit here, using these islands to our left, keeping them in between us and a few of the enemy ships, right? Keeping that second Kurfürst away from us, even that Ohio as well. Dangerous targets to be pushing into, but if we can isolate some fights here, that is always going to be a good thing. Our Hurugamo takes a bit of damage to get into the A-cap here, but we managed to trade out the Holland, and the Hurugamo is going to get the A-cap here. That's a very important cap to get early on. No French DDs in this one, so not the mad dash into it at the very beginning like I'm used to seeing, but you'll often see a lot of French DDs go for that. And if you're a battleship player, taking this route, if that happens, can be a good thing. If you have your own French DD to try and contest that, then you bring a lot of HP and staying power. Kurfürst, well, pretty weak in the superstructure, can take a lot of damage. It still has a lot of health you gotta get through, so that can help win, or at least trade out some of those engagements favorably for your team. But running along this flank here, assuming there isn't a DD left in the middle here, we can continue to push up. We don't actually have to worry about torpedoes in this one, but there will be times when there'll be a sub or another destroyer that we will want to be a little more passive. That's where we can actually use the island channels here, basically where the Schlieffen is to our left. That channel there can be a great escape route if you push in early here and then just dip out early over there. Napoli broadside onto us. It'd be really nice to help our guys on the 8, 9, 10 lines, take them out. Unfortunately, I think we missed. Looks like he turned in slightly on the mini-map there, but literally 0 hits. I didn't follow it, so I'm actually not sure exactly what happened there, but unfortunate nonetheless. And now I'm pushing into 3 battleships and a Napoli. Maybe not the wisest decision here, so I decided to turn away. Kurfürst is actually better in a kiting position than a pushing position. The turret angles are infamous on this ship. They're just awful on the rear turrets looking forward. But if you're actually kiting away, the front turrets looking over your shoulder actually have a fairly respectable turret angle. You can be reasonably well angled. 18k there into the Kurfürst. Actually hit him with 9 shells. Unfortunately, only 4 of those were full pens. I guess I aimed a little high on that one. And throughout this video, you're actually going to see 2 slightly different builds. I usually like to talk about the ship's build at the end of the video after you've seen how it's been performing. But in this one, these first 2 games, I'm actually running a full secondary, for the most part, build, even taking the secondary upgrade instead of the main gun accuracy upgrade. That might be contributing to the little bit lackluster dispersion here, but you do get 12.5 kilometer range on those secondaries. In the next 2, we're actually going to swap over to accuracy mod. Still getting 11 kilometer secondaries, which is more than enough. As you can see, the GK here is 10.6 away from us, so the accuracy mod on the main guns would still give us enough secondary range to be impacting this fight here. So, you know, might be a good option to go with that little more hybrid build. Luchins does activate for us on the Kurfürst. It's not as easy as like a Schlieffen, for example. Having these bigger secondaries is great because it gives you that 32 mil pen without actually needing to spec into IFHE. But it does mean the shells are a little slower firing, the fire rate on them, so you don't get quite as many hits. You don't gain that DPM buff nearly as quickly as a Schlieffen might. We do get double fired, I think, by Ohio secondaries, which do have a 10% fire chance, something like that. So pretty extreme fire chance that you got to be a little worried about when those secondaries are after you. Not as much full pen damage. Those fires can definitely hurt. We'll take out the enemy GK there. Both their Kurfürsts are pretty low here. And we're on pretty good HP still, honestly. But you're actually going to see it evaporate very, very quickly here. I'm actually going to be dead in less than a minute. And part of that, I think, comes down to some fire damage. We're actually reasonably well angled here, so the main guns aren't doing too much to us. Napoli on our side will be a bit of a pain, but yeah, we get double fired pretty quickly after repping another double fire that Ohio secondaries were landing. So yeah, definitely check out that Ohio video if you're looking for more of that ship, seeing how it can do this very aggressive pushing kind of gameplay in ranked. It's a solid ship as well, and it even crushes us for 20k there. And we're not quite able to Citadel him, unfortunate. So yeah, we go down very, very quickly here. Much quicker than I expected. But to be fair, that is the weakness of the GK. Fires hurt a lot, and your superstructure is pretty weak to a lot of incoming fire here. And if you slightly misangle, sure, you're not eating citadels, but yeah, those full pens can certainly add up. But we still got to 185, and our teammates managed to clutch it out for us, thankfully. So we still continue winning these games, even though we're pushing recklessly, I would say. We're still trying to be smart about it, but it's reckless to be pushing like this, and we're still doing a pretty great job. Third game here, and honestly, I love this map. It's a lower tier map. You can only see this one, I think with tier 9s you can still see it, but tier 10s definitely you can't. This island straight ahead of us here is my favorite island in the entire game because it allows us to push up so aggressively while also cutting off firing angles of the enemy team. And if you've been here for a while, you'll know exactly how much I value the limiting of firing angles and focusing on 1v1s, not letting too many people overwhelm you at a given time. Also, if you've played the game a lot, you've probably seen the value of islands as well for that reason, but especially with brawling battleships. The Schlieffen here isn't actually going to get too aggressive, and that actually allows us to push up without taking too much damage, although the Thunder does have some pretty scary armor piercing that we do have to contend with. But that's going to be about it. There's not a lot more damage coming in, and we have a broadside Petro, so that's the second reason I love this island. This is such a weird, obscure angle that people don't exactly expect it. And yeah, we're gonna like 40k a Petro right off the bat in this game. Which is pretty rare considering how Petro's damage model goes. It's very low in the water, very difficult ship to punish, even flat broadside. So we definitely will take that opening salvo into him. And now we can actually cap A. I love this map for ranked, especially if I can spawn south. Wish it was a little more mirrored, maybe. The north spawn doesn't exactly have this push like the south side does, but anytime I get spawned on the south, especially if the game does me the service of spawning me towards the left side of the map for my team, yeah, I'm pretty much always going to push like this because it's so powerful. Look at this, we can even get into the cap, and assuming this Thunderer does go behind this island here, we can actually go undetected and get the cap this early as a GK. Nobody's capped anything yet, but a GK is capping A right now. It's very fun. It's very, very fun. So 75k into this one already, and you can see just how good the crossfires would be if the enemy team decided to push aggressively into the C cap or even the B cap. My team does control some pretty powerful islands there on that side of the map, and it's going to take a lot to dislodge us from this point on the map. I'm a little worried at this point of the Schlieffen coming around behind us, but I should have recognized those torps are Schlieffen torps. They're slow. I thought they were not Marceau, sorry. I thought they were Holland torps. Maybe Marceau. Maybe I thought they were Marceau torps because they were slow. We haven't seen the Marceau yet. But yeah, we walk out and take a hit from the Schlieffen here. But it's not too bad. Schlieffen's not the scariest ship in the world when it comes to the main guns. And we're actually going to slap them back for 20k in return. We do have accuracy upgrade in this one, so yes, while we are hitting some pretty nasty salvos, 7% isn't quite enough to be this impactful. We are getting a little bit more, well, favorable RNG in this one to hit the Petro and the Schlieffen that hard. There's the Holland torps, by the way. Our Hydro did run out, so didn't have much knowledge of where they'd be coming from, but we don't actually take too many of them, fortunately. That's a great way to die very quickly in a brawling battleship or pushing battleship. Just take a bunch of torpedoes, pops your damage control, and a lot of that damage is unhealable as well. The Holland actually does get spotted by our teammates, and yeah, even though he's full health, well, you can see just how powerful it is when your team kind of gets control of this central area on this map. It's so strong that you really do just have to push into it at some point as a team. And that's one of the main reasons I enjoy this map so much as well. Not just for the island, but the map design forcing you to push in if you want to win the game, or at least try to win the game here. That's one of the main reasons, too, about Ranked that I'm having a lot of fun here, is you're rewarded for your aggression. In random battles, not really the case. You're really just rewarded for playing pretty passive and waiting for an enemy mistake. And sure, that's smart, but I wish the designers of the game, maps, game modes, that kind of thing, would take that into account, reward you for pushing more rather than playing passive. And I think that's why we're seeing a lot more passive games in random battles these days, because you're really only punished in randoms for pushing in, whereas in ranked here, we get pretty massively rewarded for pushing this aggressively. And it feels pretty good to do that much damage to a Schlieffen who's at this close a range. For whatever reason, I do struggle to deal damage to Schlieffens when they're broadside, so felt pretty good to get that one. A very nice win, though, for our team here. That early push certainly paid off. The enemy team actually even got pushed back to the A-line in this one, so a little smaller map, certainly, but the A-line's pretty far away from those objectives. So you can see we're doing some decent climbing on the day that I was actually playing this as well. But on to the fourth game. As promised, this one is going to be very, very good. In the GK, pushing up. This map, a little tricky to play, especially with a bit of a brawling build here. Especially against an Incomparable and Louisiana with quite a few destroyers. I spawn towards the A cap side, and you'll notice I'm at the C cap here. That's not something I usually like to do, since it typically results in a lot of lemming trains or weird deployments. I always am advocating for going towards the cap you spawned at. But this is a bit of a special circumstance where I'm trying to push, right? I know I'm going to provide a lot of battle impact for my team by playing aggressive. And I can't do that on the A cap, especially into potentially kiting Louisiana Incomparable, Des Moines on an island farming me, Shimmatorps, that kind of thing, submarine, right? I can't do that. At least here I can use some islands to push up with. And we get very close to the cap here. Not quite going to push into it since we do get spotted. We even get the Shimmatorps spotted with our Hydro, a very useful tool there. And we're going to try and deal with this Incomparable here without getting torped, hopefully. Shimakaze on our broadside is scary, so in the back of my mind I am going to be thinking about turning away from the Shimakaze. We also have the submarine to deal with, who has submerged, but yeah, the torps are coming. There's a reason that I am always running away from submarines and don't want to be pushing them. It's really the only way you can even have a hope of dodging the torpedoes. I use my rep here to deal with the fire, but also to remove the homing effect on these torps. Unfortunately, we do eat half of them, but we avoid the other half, so not too bad, and we don't eat a flood because of that. The only problem here is if the enemy team gets a fire just as our damage control goes offline. And so far, not too bad, actually. But that is going to be a pain point of using that damage control. Okay, second salvo, we got it. Still rather immediate, and that does represent quite a bit of damage, so we got to be a little bit careful of that. But the Incomparable does get forced away, and we'll be okay. We have enough HP to still make a push later in the game, especially after using one of our heals. We do manage to go dark here. Not the best start, certainly, but it's enough damage, and we have a lot of knowledge about where the enemy team is, especially that they're so heavy towards the C flank here. Maybe that gives our Marceau the opportunity to push towards the A cap and get that one. And then the Shimakaze pops up here to, well, I mean, you see where the Conqueror's guns are looking, right? Yeah, that is a very dead Conqueror. So we're going to have to put some work in if we want to have a chance into this game yet. Shimakaze does even go dark there, so even worse for us, but we did get a decent hit in. Again, we are using main gun accuracy mods, so we're looking for more damage out of those main guns here. The secondaries will do okay, but they do take a while to get their accuracy to them. That change to the captain skills happened a while ago. And there we go. We do manage to finish off that Shimakaze. But something I didn't notice that maybe the keen-eyed among you did is that Shima only used 2 racks to kill that Conqueror. So where do you think that third one is? Yep. We don't have Hydro, but the Shimakaze would have spotted those for us. I just wasn't paying attention. Just assumed he dumped all of them. So yeah, we're going to take even more damage here. Not the strongest start that I was promising you guys, was it? Well, maybe this will make up for it. Broadside Incomparable? Yep, that's a dead Incomparable. GK's not always going to do that, but oh boy does it feel good when it does. And you might think, hey, okay, there's your good start. Well done. You've helped take out a DD and a full health battleship. Maybe it's time to play a little more passive, use some healing. You know, you're on a 30 HP right now. No, we're just pushing. I told you guys, this is the most fun I have in this game, is pushing in, and we have to go for it. Even if it isn't maybe the smartest idea to push into a Des Moines that can farm us for free. Don't really know where the daring is either. It's been a while since he's been spotted. So, not the easiest push, but hey, the Bilal is taken out. That's pretty nice. Shimakaze torped him somehow. Don't know how that happened, but I guess maybe he ran out of battery charge, something like that. But I'll take it. Des Moines does light us on fire here. Unfortunate, but not the end of the world. A Louisiana, though, about to come out flat broadside to us. Yep. I mean, I told you it was a good game, right? There's a reason it went so well, even with us taking so much damage early on. I don't know if I've ever done that much damage to a Louisiana before. I've definitely not Devstruck one before. It is a newer ship in the game, so there is still time for that to happen, but that felt real good. Using my damage control aggressively here to purge a fire that was probably one I could have let tick. I just wanted to try and stay alive as long as I could to kill this Louisiana. I wanted to get that last salvo in. I assumed that I was going to die to either the Louisiana salvo or to the constant pressure of the Daring or the Des Moines. And now I regret it, because the first Daring shell to hit us after the damage control immunity period goes away lights us on fire. It's always a very nice feeling. And the Daring actually goes behind the island now, assuming probably that we're going to die to the fire. But no, we do have one last heal remaining, so we managed to live. And then it took forever for these guys to make a play, and we were just sitting here waiting for them to come out. And what does the Des Moines decide to do here, right? He's the one that's got to win the game. He's very healthy. He decides to walk out flat broadside to a Kurfürst and not get punished for it. Yeah, okay. It's still a good game, but yeah, a bit of a sour note to end things on, and that does spell our death, because his salvos are doing more damage than I could do to his broadside, and he has like a 4-second reload. Good. Appreciate that, game. Let's try and focus on the Dev Strike on the incomp, let's say. But that is a little frustrating. We still managed to win it, though. Our team does clutch it out for us. 200k into a ranked game feels amazing, especially when there's like 2 DDs in a sub. And there you go. Nearly 2.4k base XP. Next closest to 1.2. Yep. Nearly doubled it. As for the build that can make all of this fun happen on the Kurfürst, well, you gotta know that it is a very specific build for ranked, where all we want to do is push in. We're not really concerned about surviving terribly long, so we're not taking extra healing, and we're not even taking concealment, because we're going to be spotted the entire match. Because what's the difference between 14 to 16 kilometer concealment when our goal is to have someone within 8 kilometers of us at all times? We are going to take fire prevention, though. We won't sacrifice that for Furious, let's say, to get even more damage out. But close quarters combat, giving us 10% reload. That's very, very valuable here. We do have a 29-second reload with this build here. So getting that reload is very, very nice. Adrenaline Rush, always going to be useful in a ship that's always going to take a ton of damage every battle we're in. Manual secondaries, of course. Long-range secondaries as well. And I'm taking Turret Traverse, even over Vigilance, because pushing like this often means you're going to get surrounded, or there's going to be times where you need to turn your guns quickly to focus someone else. So upgraded Grease the Gears here actually gives us a pretty respectable turn time of 32 seconds. Not very common on the GK. Typically, you're going to see 40 seconds or so. And that really comes down to some of the upgrades we're taking as well. Preventive maintenance, keeping our main guns alive. They still get knocked out every once in a while, but I do want preventive maintenance to keep them operational, especially in those close quarters situations. We need that damage to help us win before we get ourselves sunk, because that happens a lot in the Kurfürst. And we're taking Ledge Mod. Yes, ledge mod Curfirst. Because who cares about range when our goal, again, is for people to be within secondary range at all times. So we're going to actually give up 2% reload relative to the reload mod. But what we're going to gain in return for that is 15% on the secondaries and, well, 8% less range. But we actually get kind of 13% turret traverse speed here, since the downside of this reload mod is turret traverse. And that's why you're always going to see a GK have not great turret traverse for a ship that wants to be at close ranges all the time. Well, if you just take ledge mod, you don't have to worry about that as much. Concealment, still a good upgrade. I was messing around with ship consumables mod with the Ohio, I think. A very heal-focused build, because heals are what allow the Ohio to have so much staying power. With the Curfirst here, well, you have the base 80-second reload. You don't get the 40-second reload that the Ohio does. So having the 10% concealment helps a bit, but really this 5% worse dispersion is actually a pretty big deal. That's almost as much as what Aiming Systems gives you when taking an accuracy upgrade. So pretty powerful addition to Concealment Expert that maybe you haven't noticed before. It's actually very, very strong. And one of the reasons, but not the only reason, that it's taken on basically every ship. Partially because neither of the other options are any good. But it's a very strong upgrade. I'm even taking propulsion mod here. I've been trying to stay a little more broadside in GK, focusing on getting all my guns firing. Just trying to kill someone quickly before they can kill me. Relying on that turtleback a little bit more. And it kind of baits people into shooting your belt armor a little bit more than your superstructure that, like I said, is very, very squishy here. So if we can speed juke a little bit, yeah, maybe. There's times where slowing down or accelerating quickly can actually dodge some salvos, especially at longer ranges. Aiming Systems here worked pretty well in those last two games, I'm going to be honest, so probably worth taking, especially considering how aggressive we want to be. But our secondary bad mod here, not bad either. Getting out to 12.5 kilometers. That activates your reload upgrade here on the commander a little bit more often. So there's some trade-offs, but accuracy is always going to be nice. Extra duration on Hydro and damage control can certainly be very valuable, giving you more immunity time on damage control before that instant permanent fire after it goes on cooldown hits you. So a few seconds longer without that happening. And Hydro, of course, we all know Hydro is very, very valuable here. So that's going to be the GK. A lot of fun to push in like that when it works. But I promise you, not all my games looked like this. Even on that day I was playing, they did not all go this well. But I'm going to share the good ones with you guys because they are the most entertaining. And let's be honest here, random battles being so passive, it's kind of nice to watch some very aggressive games in the Curfirst go so well. So I hope you guys enjoyed that one. Thank you very much for watching, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.